hello, Satam Patak, happy Friday. Welcome to 5 Question Friday. I am Sarah of Expat in Croatia, and every Friday at 5 o'clock Croatia time, I answer 5 questions from people who have sent them in on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, expatincroatia.com, my email, consulting sessions, and people who put them on a lovely little piece of paper, roll them up into a tube, shove them in a bottle, put them out to sea, and then they roll up on the shore here in Split. And I am next to the sea in Split today. We are above Obojena Beach. We wanted to go to Mestrovic Gallery because my friend and I, who's back there that you can't see, she's waving, are going to go to Mestrovic Gallery after this. Ivan Mestrovic is a very famous Croatian sculptor, architect, and writer, and he has a beautiful museum here in Split that is right by the sea, but you cannot film there unless you pay a very, very high fee. So instead, we are across the street above the beach, and I want to quickly show you the beach so you can see what I'm looking at. So I'm going to gently take you off here and show you. Isn't it lovely, guys? Who wants to be at that beach right now? Me! I do! Okay, so let's dig in, shall we? What do I have to tell you? So last weekend I was in Sarajevo for the very first time visiting some very dear friends of mine. You may have seen some of my pictures and videos on stories. I have made a lovely home movie, and I put out a poll yesterday to see who actually wanted to see it, and 94% of you said yes. So tomorrow I will be debuting that video. I'm so excited about it. I really love this one, like a lot. So yeah, Sarajevo was a really cool experience. Aside from seeing friends I hadn't seen in a really long time, I learned a lot. And I want to talk about it more, but I don't want to open Pandora's box. But it was a really, really beautiful experience. That's what I will leave it as. So I hope you enjoy the home movie that we're going to put out tomorrow. I do want to ask you, how do you hear me? I do have a mic on, but the locusts here are just like out of control. They're having a party up in the trees, so I hope it's not impacting your ability to hear me. Okay, so next, this past week, I recorded a video for YouTube with a lovely woman named Camilla from Chile. She's Croatian diaspora. She has a YouTube channel called Tutoriales Croatas, and essentially it's bureaucracy for Croatian diaspora in Spanish. So, but this was the first episode that they ever did in English, so I'm really honored to be a part of the very first English episode, which is super cool because you might remember a few months back I filmed a documentary with a German YouTube channel, and they said this is the first time we've ever done an interview in English. So I'm very honored to be that English-speaking person. By the way, on the documentary, it's not out yet. Once it's out, I will be sure to scream it from the mountaintops. What else? In a couple of weeks, I'm going to be on a panel at the Split Tech City Festival here in Split, and that's being moderated by Michael Freer, who is a great friend of Expat in Croatia. And so yesterday, I met with him and my fellow panelists about that, and we're going to be talking about Split and Croatian culture and our experiences of running a business as foreign entrepreneurs in Croatia. So it would be a super cool discussion. If you're interested in coming to see that panel, send us a DM and we will shoot that link over to you. Also on that note, right after we had that prep meeting, I was at our Foreign Business Owners Association monthly meetup, and also Michael Freer, he was doing our educational program. We have an educational presentation every single month at those meetings. Right now, this association is free. It's open to anyone who wants to join us. It's on the 3rd Thursday of every month. So next month, the educational presentation will be on how to get your business started with AI and ChatGPT, and that's going to be put on by Mirela Petrovic, who was one of our she was on our judges panel for Women's Month 2023. So was Michael Freer, actually. So if you'd like more information about that, send us a DM and we will shoot over the Facebook page. We do have an Instagram now, but it's not active, so that's why I'm not calling that one out. What else? Oh yeah, so next week I'm going to Switzerland to visit a very dear friend of mine who used to live here in Split. So I will be doing 5 questions from Switzerland next week. Pretty jazzed about that. That's it. So let's go ahead and dig into the question, shall we? Thank you so much for being here. If you're just joining us, this is 5 Question Friday, and I am Sarah of Expat in Croatia. So I'm going to answer 5 questions about Croatia now. All right, this first one comes from Jessica. That is a fake name. She did submit this through the 5 Question Friday form, and we make it very clear, like, if you don't want your real name, please say so. Because of the nature of her question, I went ahead and gave her an alias anyways. I'm working here in Croatia and got pregnant, so I informed my employer. I went to my doctor for a checkup, and she gave me sick leave, which I sent to my employer. Now I'm processing the requirements needed by HZZO, which is the Croatian Health Fund, so I can get access to my benefits. I complied with everything except for the salary certificate needed from my employer. Unfortunately, my employer doesn't want to give it, and they told me they will cancel my working permit and terminate my contract due to my pregnancy. They said they will not finance my contributions for insurance and want to cancel my papers because they don't want responsibility, where in fact it is against the law to terminate a contract for pregnant women. Please help to enlighten me, since I am suffering stress for what they are doing to me. Yes, it is a violation of the law to fire a pregnant woman. Yes, absolute. Fact. And I also want to mention the salary certificate. So what is she referring to? Whenever you are employed by a Croatian company, your employer is required by law to provide you a salary certificate every single month. Every single month. They are supposed to give it to you. Now, there are 2 ways that they can provide this to you. One is a hard copy. If they provide you a hard copy, then there should be 2 copies generated. And the company has to sign and stamp both of those copies, and then 1 copy you get to keep for yourself, and the other copy you have to sign, and then it goes back to the employer so that they can keep it for their records. So this is a non-negotiable. The second way is the way that we do it. We do it electronically, and we got permission from the government to be able to do that. So we send out our salary certificates to our employees on email, and then they have to reply and confirm that they have received it. So this is all totally messed up. I chatted with our head lawyer about this, and she said, yeah, all of this is illegal, and she needs a lawyer. So that's how we advised her. So yeah, totally screwed up that this person is doing that. But when you are on a work permit here, unfortunately, your employer feels like they have a great deal of control and power over you, and they have a tendency to abuse that power, and this is one such example. So if you ever get into a situation like this and you're not sure what to do, please let us know, and we'll do everything we can to point you in the right direction. Now, we do have a guide on worker rights, so if you would like that, send us a DM. And if you need a lawyer, we can help with that too, of course. So send us a DM if you would like a recommendation for a lawyer who can help you with a work issue. All right, thank you so much, Jessica, for that question. All right, now, next, this comes from Stefan. This was also on our 5 Question Friday forum, which you can find at the link in our profile, in our newsletter, on our website. In a previous episode of 5 Question Friday, you mentioned having a Croatian bank account is not necessarily needed. All bills can be paid at TSAC or the post office. With that said, if someone is going to rent a house long-term, not via Airbnb, will the landlord not be seeking some kind of proof of income or bank account information? And if they do, would they accept foreign bank account info or otherwise if one does not have a Croatian account? This is an excellent question. So, you do not need to show any proof of income to get a rental in Croatia. Now, I can't speak for all countries. I know that in the United States, they want you to have some kind of proof of income. Usually it has to be 3 times whatever your monthly rent is, but not in Croatia. You don't have to show income at all. So no, this isn't necessary. You don't need to have a bank account. And with regards to bank accounts or paying bills, we do have a guide on how to pay bills without a bank account. If you want that, send us a DM. We also have a guide on renters' rights. We also have a guide on how to find a place to live. All of those things are just a moment away to send us a DM and say, Danny, this is what I want, and she will send it over to you. Okay, so next this comes from Dunya, also on our 5 Question Friday forum. Do you have information on estate clearing out services in Split? A service that will take away unwanted clothing, furniture, homewares following a death. Yes, and it's not just in Split, it's all over Croatia. So there is a company called Reto Centar, And they were started in Spain in 1985, but they came to Croatia in 1993. And their goal, and I got this from their website, their goal is moral, cultural, material, and spiritual assistance to vulnerable groups that restores human dignity. Now, many of their workers that they have employed are recovering from addiction. So it's a great way for people in this situation to get a job and earn an income. So they offer moving, collection of unwanted items, and delivery, and also have a market for used and refurbished items. If you would like a link to their site, send us a DM and we'll be more than happy to send that over to you. Okay, so next this comes from Alejandro. This is also through our 5 Question Friday form. Hi Sarah, my parents are planning a trip to Croatia. However, my father is a disabled person with a walking disability. Which cities in Croatia, or which cities on the Croatian coast are more disabled people friendly or well adapted? And where can I get further information about that? So, I'm not educated on this subject, but I knew exactly who was. So in April 2022, my colleague Maria, our content manager, interviewed a Croatian travel blogger who specifically blogs about traveling with disabilities. His name is Slaven Škrobac. That is from April 2022. If you would like to read that interview, it is fascinating. Send us a DM, we'll be happy to send that over to you. So Maria reached out to him and asked him this question, and so I'm going to read to you what he provided to us, okay? So, it depends on many things and cannot be generalized. There is no city that is fully accessible in Croatia to the disabled. If you are alone in tourist attractions like Dubrovnik, you have nothing to do there. It all depends on how long a person travels, their physical condition, who helps them, do they want to visit only adjusted places, or do they want to visit places where someone will have to carry them around or on the stairs? It all depends. Istra and Zagreb are the most adjusted for the disabled. The south of Croatia is not adjusted. The only positive thing on the south is that the main ferries have ramps, movable construction for crossing. If you are crazy and you want to visit someplace like Plitvice Lakes, you must contact the rangers and see if they can help. In Split, you can mingle on the Riva and some parts of Diocletian's Palace. On Krka, but other parts are not adjusted, like for example the basements. On Krka, you can go to the bridge to see Veliki Slap, which is the biggest waterfall, and that's it. You can go to Skradin to go on a boat that travels on Krka. The person must be ready for other people to help carry them around. Otherwise, they cannot visit tourist places. So, like I said, we did a great interview with Slaven about what it's like to travel with disabilities, and we will send you that interview if you send us a DM. You can also follow him on Instagram at Slaven Škrobac. I will include his handle in the caption once we do a repost of this thing we're doing here right now. So you can follow him. He's pretty fascinating. Okay, this is our last question, and this comes from a team member. This comes from Danny, our social media manager, in response to a lot of questions that we got from our audience. So, is the law against drinking in public in Split actually because of public nuisance? I also heard that this law only exists for the area of the city center and the palace. There are a lot of something's trying to attack me. So here's the thing. Bugs love me. Love me. I am their crack. They try to fly in my nose, in my eyes, in my ears. It's a problem. It's a problem. Anyways, back to public drinking in Split. Okay, we've had lots of questions and people asking for clarification on this because we shared a reel that had gone viral on our stories of this American girl who got a €150 fine for drinking in public. And so in response to that, people want clarification on the rules. So, our Wonder Woman Cam, who's our new junior consultant, you can speak with her yourself after September 1st. She did all this research, and so I'm going to clearly outline all of the rules for you. So, according to the Tourist Board of Split, the City of Split voted in a set of rules for both historical and residential areas referred to as decency zones. This is enforced by city order officers with the support of the police, and they are authorized to fine anyone breaking the rules. Here are the rules. Any public alcohol consumption within the historical center and less than 100 meters from schools and kindergartens will be fined €300. Urinating in public, food and drink consumption in public spaces when it can leave dirty traces, and staying in bars and other venues after working hours is a fine of €300. Climbing and sitting on historical and other monuments and landmarks, bathing and climbing on public fountains brings a fine of €300. You would think these things would be common sense. Vomiting in public places will cost €300. Sleeping in public parks, square, parking lots, and other public spaces will cost €150. And not only tourists will be under watch, any soliciting of taxis or other unlicensed transportation is also a €300 fine. Other interesting tidbits. 13 tourists received the first fines in early June. A Facebook group consisting of locals of Diocletian's Palace and the Old City Center in Split sent a letter to Split authorities last August stating that residents could no longer tolerate the terror caused by certain tourists, and I agree. Last summer was atrocious. In addition to the unacceptable acts of urinating and vomiting in public areas, the letter also mentioned that residents were overwhelmed by the litter, noise, and crowds. So, as a commentary, Split has become a party scene. And this look, if you behave badly, it is your own fault. You should be treating Croatia like you are a guest here. You know, like, we're not gonna pee on your coffee table. Please don't pee on our doorstep, kind of thing. That being said, there has been a party culture that has been fostered by the city. We've had the Ultra Music Festival, which brings at least 60,000 people every year to come and treat Split like a toilet every year. Not all of them, but a lot of people do. Plus we have pub crawls. We're also dealing with booze cruises and tons of hostels and lots and lots and lots of cheap Airbnbs. So that culture has been fostered here, and we need to now unravel it. So the last 2 years we've been dealing with those consequences. But I also want to say, there's this other kind of piece to it, is, you know, people were locked up for 2 years, and so a lot of them are like, you know what, after COVID, there are no consequences anymore. Nothing else matters, so why wouldn't I act badly? Because the world is ending, and I think a lot of people came here with that on their minds, and they just went bonkers nuts. So this year seems to be a lot better, and that's because of the intense control that they have had. But I will say it has changed the vibe in Split. On Marmontovo, which is our main shopping street, every 3-4 meters, there's a giant poster that says "Don't defecate in the street." Do we need that? Unfortunately, we did, because people were defecating in the street. Also, there's a police presence now at night, which is weird. Drinking in public is a thing that Croatians do. That's kind of part of culture. But now we have this new thing, and I would be very shocked if they enforced this in the winter when there are no tourists here. But this is a thing now, so it's impacting locals to even have these rules, and it has changed the vibe. So I'm hoping in future summers that things are going to start to calm down. The word gets out that you will suffer these fines if you do behave badly. So yeah, that's that situation. So thank you so much for asking that question to everybody who wanted clarification on the rules, because we haven't spoken about those rules. Now this is what I say, because we actually got another question about this, about how locals are handling this. And I would love to dive a little bit deeper to that. So if you are a local in Split, we would love to hear from you, to hear what you think about tourist behavior this year and in previous years. So send us a DM, make a comment down below, and we would love to share all of that feedback together all at once. That's it, guys. So thanks so much for being here next to Old Boy on the beach with me. And yeah, this has been 5 Question Friday. There'll be a replay in my profile pretty soon. And I will see you next Friday from Switzerland for another 5 questions. Send us a DM if you have any questions you would like to see answered. Thank you so much. Happy Friday and Vidimo se. Ciao!